This is David Smith from Butler High School, and you're watching All In on NJIC Football.
And we are live on another edition of All In on NJIC Football, All In on high school sports football. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good. Our great producer backstage, Mr. Sean Murphy. What is going on, Sean? I know he texted me, so I know he's with us, but I'm not sure if he can hear us. I mean, not hear us, but if his microphone's back in action. So if you are, Sean, say hello. He might text us hello. So he's with us. That's all I know is he's with us. Before we get going, I know you would echo the same thing, but I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving this week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just a great time. It's the holiday season. It's kicking off. But I'm doing well, Jen. Just turned 51.
Yeah.
So
and a happy belated birthday.
Thank
to you.
you.
As
Thank
well.
you. 51. It feels pretty good. And listen, we're ready to go. Hey, big Thanksgiving games. We're going to get into that. But Jen, state championship games. Here we go. We got 7 of them coming up and excited.
Is it crazy to think that we're down to the final, really 14 teams playing for, I mean, there's some Thanksgiving games this week as well, but teams that are truly playing, in postseason play, it's down to, of all the teams, it's down to 14. So
and
it's crazy.
And Jen, it's what we wanted, right? We've always said, get a true state championship. Listen, these teams are going to have sectional championships. They're going to have North and South or whatever you want to say, group championships, but this is it now. Now you are playing, you're either in Rutgers or you're in MetLife, and you're playing for a true, there's no debate now.
Yeah.
You win, you are the best team in the state, in your bracket. Nobody can argue it. That's what it is. So I'm excited. We got great matchups across the board. We got rematches. We got, a team playing twice. We got everything going on this week.
Well, before we go any further, is it okay if I give a moment to our sponsors?
Of course.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Red's Restaurant and Beer Garden with 2 locations in Carlstadt and Newark, the Roosevelt in Carlstadt. I always mess that one up. East Rutherford, East Rutherford. I always forget the exact location. Villa Italia in Lyndhurst, Puppies and Tattoos, dog grooming services with 3 locations in North Arlington, Fairlawn, and Montclair, as well as a mobile dog grooming service. And we don't want to forget Lion Coffee. And Patrick and I, you know what? I neglected to reach out to our guests last week about free coffee. One of them is returning this week, so I'll have to make sure I reach out and tell. But the lioncoffee.com, 10% discount to all of our viewers if you use the code Patrick10 for some Kona coffee.
Did we ever get Zach coffee from Big State?
We'll have to ask because he's coming back as well.
We got to
so
make sure.
I can't remember if we did. We've given away so much coffee this season that I can't remember. So I definitely may have. I know I slacked off last week, so that my apologies to our guests. But I promised to catch up with that. And I did want to just give a quick bow update for.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have to give a bow update.
So Bo was suffering a little bit with some separation anxiety. The little 6.5-pound Shih Tzu that we have, who just turned a year, was moving his crate about a foot distance. We were afraid he was hurting himself, but we have hired a dog behaviorist by the name of Pac-Man, like Dog Pack, to the rescue, who has been, I'm going to use the word, a godsend and a miracle worker. Actually, the first 5 minutes he was in our house, he kind of got our dog in order with one simple command, and we asked him to move in with us. But
we're 2 weeks in. Things are good. Things can change, but he's been unbelievable.
Yes,
unbelievable.
So if you are looking for any type of dog, not dog training, he's very specific. He's a dog behaviorist. He does not work with the dog, but he works with us. And
I love what he said right out of the gate. It's not the dog's fault.
Oh, yeah.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
And so true.
Yeah. So we've made some, I'm gonna use like minor changes, right? But that had a major impact. So we just wanted to give that little update. So
couple comments. Albert Knoppers. Howdy, Kurt, Jen, and all fans. What's up, Albert?
Thanks for watching.
And there's our great well, Albert's a great friend too, but another great friend, Jody Moncrief. Breaking news: Luke Wattenberg signed to a 4-year deal. That's great news. I haven't checked Twitter. I'm not sure about that.
I thought you were shaking a little.
And he's saying, "Happy late birthday, go Broncos." So
very
you know what,
nice.
Jen? Nice week off, nice
Jody
relaxation.
and I had an intense
fantasy football
battle this weekend.
Yeah.
And I will say he almost beat me with no defense. So
yeah. But let's get to this, Jen. We have a couple minutes before we start bringing, our special guests. Thanksgiving games. Okay, this is something that you go way back. This has always been a tradition. I mean, I never played in one, but I coached in a bunch of them. Coached in them. We never played on Thanksgiving at Ramapo. We played that Thanksgiving weekend, so we usually played the Friday game. St. Mary's we did, Lyndhurst we did. Usually it was like Lyndhurst, Beckton. St. Mary's was always Wallington. Rutherford was Indian Hills. But let's. By the way, there's Patrick saying aloha, Bronco family. So there's Patrick saying hello, the best, the man, the most generous person, and Ernie Mays. Hello, Kurt and Jen. Go Broncos country. Only Sunday we go 10-2. Let's go. So let's get back to this. So it's changed a lot now, right? Here's the issue. You have some teams that are not playing anymore. They're playing, they're playing a Thanksgiving game, all fine and dandy.
Weeks off. Was that what you're saying? Oh,
well, no, just that their season was over. They're playing it. They're going to, fine. You have a team like Shabazz.
Mm-hmm.
Shabazz is playing week on Thursday. The only problem is Shabazz has a state championship game on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I was talking to Kenny off the air on this, and he was big on this. And what's your thoughts about it? Do you like it? Do you? And when I say like it, listen, for like a team like Dumont, those teams are out, they're not playing. I think that's great. But let's focus more on Shabazz. They have a game.
I'm gonna interrupt you though. Like you don't know if you're gonna be
you
done.
Don't.
So you can't say for a team like this because Dumont was playing for a playoff bid. They were probably on the cusp of making state tournament. So, if they're rivalry games, how do you not enjoy them?
Here's the thing, and I'll just say this from experience at St. Mary's, right? We had a smaller bracket in non-public B one year. So we had the state championship game the Friday before Thanksgiving.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we win a state championship on Friday. Saturday, there's no, what's that called? Saturday, there's nothing. Sunday, nothing. We come in Monday. We really, honestly, we watch the film.
Okay.
Tuesday, all right, let's go over a game. Kids are looking at you like, what? Like,
so, right, you won a state.
But we won a state championship,
and then had to
come back. Now,
which is extremely unusual.
In the meantime, Wallington has about 19 weeks off. We're getting the state champs. We actually started that game down 14-0. We come back, we win that game, pretty handily. Now, a couple years later, we play another state championship game before Thanksgiving. We lose on a Saturday. How are those kids coming back for Thanksgiving to play for Thanksgiving?
So you lost the state championship.
Yes.
Well, I feel like that maybe has been fixed a little bit by the state, maybe for that reason, because that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, Shabazz is playing their Thanksgiving Day game and then playing their state championship later. So everybody else is playing November 28th.
But I'm saying,
I'm just saying, because that is a hard thing to do in both situations, because the pinnacle should be your state championship.
Now you have, operation number 3, where you're playing a game, but listen, their laser focus has to be that state championship game, right? Do you get kids hurt? Do you play? What are you showing offensively and defensive for game planning? It's just, it's such a question of, what do you do? Listen, Wheatquakes, like, they're foaming at the mouth. They're getting state finalists. Shabazz, a team that could be a state championship, they're ready. They've been having 2 weeks to go. It is such a disadvantage. It's hard to, what is your focus? What are these kids doing? Again, the injury situation.
I'm going to say
that's tough.
It is tough. It
It's
is
tough.
tough. I'm going to say this from a coach's perspective. I'm going to say that you prepare your team. I have a problem with not playing kids leading into this. I just have a problem with the tone that sets for, not taking, that's not fair to the kids, let's say, who are seniors. It's not fair to the rest of the team, putting pressure on them. It's not fair to your opponent. So I have a real problem going into a game like that and just saying, like, I'm not going to play my starters. I just don't think that that's the right message that I want to send my student athletes. That's just me personally, because I want to prepare. And talking about injury, listen, I get it. And football is its own beast, especially with injury. But you know what? We've talked about this. I could tear my ACL, at a walkthrough and the day before the game.
I know.
So we can't. So there's just so many ways that you could do that.
But you know what? It's the tradition, Jen, too.
What tradition?
The tradition of like, it's so hard because listen, but
it is. So I think that you have to.
I remember my parents always saying
you could have, a regular season game before your first state tournament game. I mean, like, it's a teachable moment for your student athletes and how to handle it and what you need to do. And as a coach, how I need to prepare them. It's challenging, but I think that it can be done.
I see both sides because I remember, like, my parents saying when my father played back in Garfield and they were phenomenal and Clifton was phenomenal. I mean, what was you'd have to go like 8:00. There was, 10 to 20,000 people at these games. Just everybody in those two towns were there. And I don't know if it's like that now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe it is.
They didn't play like two.
Right, you didn't play. Right. No, there was no state championship.
Yeah,
they got voted state champions. Right. It just wasn't. It wasn't like that. Yeah. So but the amount of game, like now there's 5 games like in this area, Jen. When we played, like when we were coaching, like I mean, you had everybody was playing. Like we're gonna have Cedar Grove, and I actually want to ask Coach a question, but it was Cedar Grove, Verona, I think, and you're talking,
the rivalry games,
games, and so I see both sides of it, but it's tough. Like Shabazz is the only one that's in that situation right now,
right?
But it's just not as easy as there's a lot that goes in because, like you're saying, those kids want to play, you want to play, but as a coaching staff, again, like game planning, what do you do? If anyone's hurt, and then God forbid you get somebody hurt, it's just. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Patrick is saying my pup is 1 year old. Time for some obedience for me.
Well, I think he does Zoom sessions as well. So being the fact that you're in Hawaii wouldn't be a problem if you wanted to get with Pac-Man to the rescue. All right. Well, we have our first guest in the waiting room ready to go. So we're going to bring in return guests. Cedar Grove this week. We're going to be joined by Coach Gogarty and his kicker, Sebastian Kovac. So let me get them in here. Coach, welcome back, but more importantly, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, Sebastian. Welcome as well. Thank you for joining us both. Let me just give a little brief introduction, more thorough introduction, I'd say. Cedar Grove is 11-2, playing for the Group 1 state championship. And Coach, if I get anything wrong, please correct me. November 30th at Rutgers, they advanced to the group finals with a 24-21 victory over Butler in the group semifinals. So again, congrats, guys, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, if I could ask you a question off topic real quick. Jen and I were just talking about the whole Thanksgiving game, and I know you guys are Cedar Grove and Verona, and, we can get your thoughts. Let me ask you, do you guys miss the Thanksgiving games?
You know what? I think at this point, the way this state is set up, I don't miss it whatsoever. We're now playing our 14th game of the year, so it's tough to go through there. But a quick talking point, when I was a senior in high school, we actually won our state sectional semifinal game. Verona lost their state sectional semifinal game. We're playing on Thanksgiving before the state sectional at that time. We winded up losing in double overtime on Thanksgiving and had to, kind of circle back and get back ready for a state sectional final game, so I think I kind of went through it back in the day a little bit there, kind of, playing a huge rivalry game with, about 4,000 people there, kind of falling short in a chaotic game. Anthony Fasano actually caught an overtime touchdown to kind of win the game. And then we had to come back, we showed up, I remember we showed up the next day on a Friday to do a walkthrough, for the state sectional game. And Coach Satlock at the time, he made us run around the track for about a half hour, to get refocus, for that state sectional game. And we ended up winning the section that year 12-0. So it kind of eased our, tension a little bit there.
Coach, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be totally wrong, but I want to say like early 2000s, I thought I remembered that there was a situation where it was like Cedar Grove Verona was playing. And then did you guys play like in a sectional final? And I don't know if it was one of the better kids on your team or Verona got hurt in that last game. Was that true?
2004, Cedar Grove's best player that year broke his leg in the Thanksgiving Day game, and they winded up playing a state-ranked Hoboken team the next year, and they the next week and won 6-0. A crazy game. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just, it's so hard to just like Jen was saying, like the kids want to play and a rivalry, but then it's like, I don't know. It's you know what, though, lucky it doesn't happen, but for Shabazz, it happens. It's going to happen for Shabazz. So
Coach, I'm gonna interrupt for one moment. You mentioned your high school days, and I had to ask you a question about your high school days. So forgive me for going off script, and Sebastian, please forgive me for deviating from football for a second. But did you play basketball at Cedar Grove as well?
Yes, I played football, basketball, and baseball. Yeah.
And did you play for the legendary Coach Frank Giovannucci?
You know what? Coach Giovannucci left going into my senior, my freshman year. I never played for him, but I got to coach with him for 2 years. He was the head coach at Clifton High School for 2 years, and I was his varsity assistant kind of right out of college, just because of our relationship and stuff like that. So I was able to coach with him, but I never got to play for him.
Well, can I tell you a quick, funny Frank Giovannucci story? So my father was his college teammate. They played together in college, right? So I have such a great respect for him. So all through middle school and high school, I was at Cedar Grove games. I mean, from the time I was a middle schooler, like just learning the game, and what better coach to see than Frank Giovannucci, right? So when I'm in college and I'm coaching my first, I had like a 3rd and 4th grade girls basketball team, right? So I'm like, well, maybe I should go watch Coach Giovannucci's practice, right? So he allows me to come watch, but in true Coach Giovannucci fashion, and this was nice, I think he was being nice to me, he throws a chair out and he goes, "You want to sit down?" And he just throws the chair out, and I'm like, okay, and I just sit in the corner, but he was so kind to let me be able. That was his he was a little rough around the edges at times. That sounds like him, right?
Yeah,
I had to share that with
you. Great guy and coach, though.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. So sorry, I had to share that.
So Coach, listen, on the big screen last Friday, Cedar Grove Butler, and just what a game it was. Obviously, we got one of the stars, if not the star on the show. We'll get to him in a second. But can you just talk a little bit about that game? Butler, takes the lead. So it's kind of like back and forth. You guys come up. It was just a phenomenal game. So you know what? Let's give you the floor. Can you talk a little bit about that game?
Yeah, you know what? It was a heavyweight match. It was, for a Group 1 football game. I think it was an awesome high school game. Was one of the best high school games probably of the week, or if not the season. Just two great programs. I'm still, I kind of still say I don't think we executed our best throughout that game, but like you said, we just hung in there. We kind of always play tough, and we responded. Every time we had to. I think we trailed three times in that game, and give Butler a ton of credit. I think they threw us off, on both sides of the ball a little bit, and bottled us up. David Smith is a phenomenal player. He's one of the best we've seen this year, and had trouble, slowing him down. And it was just two good football teams, and it's upsetting someone's got to lose that game, and things like that.
Sebastian, I'm going to come to you. You kicked the game winner as time expired. We've had a few kickers on the show with us before, and we always talk to them about the mental aspect of your position. Can you walk us through your mental preparation from when you knew you would be kicking the potentially, at that time, game-winning field goal to when you knew the kick was actually good?
So every time we have field goal, usually Gogs tells me it's an extra point. I just got to imagine it as an extra point. Just kick the ball how I always do. I always have to remind myself to use my technique and just just relax. Tell yourself you're gonna make it, and it'll go in.
And how was it when that finally did go through and you're on the field with your teammates? How was that moment?
It felt surreal. I couldn't believe I was there. It was a moment I've dreamt of with my friends since we were kids.
That's awesome.
All right, I'm going to put Sebastian on the spot right now, and Coach can't hold it against him. But late in that game, when that game was tied and it was 4th down, and Coach decided to go for it, did you kind of look at him like, no field goal here? Like, what's going on?
I mean, I was a little confused, but I always have faith. I always have faith.
No, you know what? Listen, I'll be honest. Like, I was like, he's got to go for it, you know. Like, and I mean, think about it. They weren't really stopping you, you know. So, but I had to just get that in just to see, like, always the kicker mentality. But getting back at
You sound like my special teams coordinator.
Let me ask you, Coach, was it a hard decision?
You know what? I'm more kicking myself. I think I went for it early on in that game. It was 7-7 or 14-7 in the second quarter. I thought I should have kicked that one. I think that could have been an easy 3 points for us. That late in the game, though, it's not my philosophy. It's not my style. I'm not going to, kick a field goal there and go down and lose, 7-6. My thinking is, we get stopped here, even if they score, I have confidence in our guys to, march right back down the field, and score and, either tie it up or go for 2, at that point.
Yep. Sebastian, I'm going to come back to you. So how do you and I guess, if you want to talk about practice or just your preparation and stuff like that, like, how do you prepare yourself like all week, all season listen, it doesn't happen a lot where you're kicking a 48, 49-yard field in that kind of pressure. So how are you just preparing like yourself all year for a situation like last Friday night?
So it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because that week with my kicking coach and my snapper, we were practicing like 10 seconds. We were on the sideline, 10 seconds on the clock. Our coach counts down, and then we run on the field, set up, and we just kick.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Who knew? It was a premonition. Coach, I'm going to come back to you. You guys fell to Glasborough in the Group 1 finals last year, and here you guys are matched up with them in a bet again. Excuse me. Can you tell us about their strengths as a team this year?
They're a powerhouse. Obviously, I think they've won whatever they've won now in a row, 26 or 27 in a row. They're ranked in the top 10 in the state. I think they could play with anyone. But you know what? I think our guys, our staff, our guys have kind of circled this game a little bit. I think we wanted another shot, kind of another crack. I think, I'll take, I said it to the guys yesterday in a team meeting, and, there's no one I'm going to trade, our guys for. And I think, we're battle tested. I think we know what to expect a little bit. I think we went into the game, that game last year, kind of saying we're going to go head to head with them, and did for a little while. But, obviously, you got to play your best game. You got to, bottle them up. You got to do some outside of the box things, against a team like that, and I think, our guys are going to go down there, and expect a war and give it their best shot.
Coach, I'll come back to you. And as someone that loves offense, I always said, like, watching Cedar Grove offense, it's awesome. But like your quick game, you're like that quick screen game, like it's like on another level. Like, honestly, like you watch some like college level, and it's like, oh, like what are they running? And like when you guys run it, it's just like, oh my God, like it looks so good. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like how much time you put into that and how important that is for you guys?
Yeah, I think, you know what, I think I would say no one throws the ball more in practice and, throughout the year than we do. I think we, spend a lot of time doing it. It's very repetitive. It's very, sometimes, boring at times, but we're constantly pitching and catching. And I think the biggest part is I have guys who are selfless and block, and that's the key to it. You need good athletes, but that are also going to block for their teammates. And they may not, one kid may catch the ball 10 times, one kid may catch the ball 2, but they're both so important in that process, to succeed and, move the ball. I think that's the best part. I've been fortunate enough to coach selfless kids who just want to win.
Sebastian, I'm going to come to you with the last question here. Senior season, right? Win or lose, right now you're at the end of the road, last game, no matter what, right? So I'm going to get a little reflective on you. What has it meant to you to be part of the Cedar Grove football program?
Everything. So it's another family. They're my friends. It's almost like Gogs are the coaches are my uncles. I just love being a part of the program. We're always having fun. We're always eager to play. We just always give it our all, 100% all the time.
That's great. And a little follow-up question for you, also senior related, is your favorite memory either from this year or like your entire time in the Cedar Grove program? What's your favorite memory?
I got two. I got two. I would say going to MetLife. Going to MetLife last year with all my friends and my teammates. It was just an awesome moment.
Awesome.
Well, I got one for, and I think I asked, I might have asked the Rutherford kicker this when he won the Glenrock game, or that was the Hoboken game, or whatever the games. I'm going to ask you. A little more hellos on Monday morning when you went back to school? Like, was it a little more, hey, here, there's the man of the hour walking in there?
Kind of a little bit. I didn't actually go to school yesterday. I took the day off. I was just relaxing with my family.
Well, you know what? You deserve it.
You deserve it. Well earned.
And you know what? When watching the game, and they were like, 48-yarder, 49-yarder, and I forgot whoever was announcing the game was like, this isn't, he's a D1 kid here, kicker, this kid can kick. This isn't like, no chance. And it was, I gotta say, it wasn't like it just barely made it over either.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it could have went a couple more yards. That's all I'm gonna say. Coach, when you saw it, as soon as you saw it, Coach, what was your reaction?
You know what? I just thought it was a culmination of 4 years. I think, Sebi's been kicking for us, for a good 3 or 4 years now. And we worked the process. This year we weren't great at it. Obviously at our level, it takes a lot. It takes the snap, it takes the hold, it takes the blocking, and we struggled a little bit. I'm not saying we didn't make any, but I think we struggled in bigger moments. And I think, we've kept working on it. Sebi's, put a ton of time in it. And I kind of, backed away, and I had a perfect view of it. And I just saw that ball go up, and I said that, he drilled it. He drilled it.
Sebastian, did you know right
when it came off my foot, I can tell if it's in or not.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Coach and Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Best of luck to you guys, and bring home that Group 1 championship.
Thank you guys, and thank you for what you do
so much. Happy
Our pleasure.
Y'all.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys, and hey, good luck.
Thank you guys.
Good night.
All right, so there are Cedar Grove and Coach and Sebastian, and what a game that was. And listen, we're an NJIC show first and foremost, and obviously with David Smith and Coach Luciani, and what a heartbreaking game. And listen, what a career he had, what a run Butler has had, 2 back-to-back NJIC championships, 2 back-to-back sectional championships. But listen, what a run Cedar Grove has, right? I mean, 2 years in a row, they see this team in this, semifinal game, and it just shows you how good both of those programs are, the respect that both of those coaches got, how close this game was.
Right.
And
Coach said himself, it's a shame anybody has to lose a game like that.
Yeah, and like I said, there are you probably in high school football, 9 out of 10 coaches are not going to try a 47-40 yard field. I mean, they're not maybe trying a 25 and a 35, they're not going to do it. Right. So for Coach, obviously he knows what kind of kicker he has. He has the confidence in him. And listen, that just shows, but like Coach says, like, you could have the best kicker in the world, but you know what, Jen? You got to snap it. You got to hold it. You got to block it.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Listen, there's a lot of things that one of those things goes wrong, that kick is no good. Right. So, hey, that's like, that's a unit, and that special team unit delivered there, and Sebastian delivered there. And hey, listen, they got, let's not sugarcoat it. They got a tough team that they're going to be playing this week, right? That took it to them last year.
Well, Coach mentioned it is a 26-game win streak.
26-game win streak. But you know what? Hey, this, a lot of teams as this 4 seed, a lot of people might not have said, oh, Cedar Grove's a little down. They're not going to do this, not going to do that. Boom, set another sectional championship. Boom, another North 1 championship. So listen, it's right there. Now, listen, here's the thing. Any of these teams can win a state championship. There's nobody on these brackets that we're
Of
picking
course,
that's going to
of
be
course,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's not like that. Like, or teams might be, oh, because you're playing an opponent, but it doesn't matter. You're all champions. You're all won big games here. So
Yeah.
listen, Cedar Grove is going to go down like they're saying, hey, they want them again. They're going to go down with that chip on their shoulder, and let's go. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's like you mentioned. I think you mentioned it last week, where you win a sectional championship, right? And that that's a championship, a
Yep.
section, and then you go to the group semifinals, right?
Yep.
And if you lose there, like, okay, it just comes off you have your sectional champion. Now you win that, especially in an exciting game like this, and you go to the group. And if you lose there, you don't want that feeling to take
No.
away from what you
No.
accomplished. So it's natural to feel, of course, disappointed, but it's hard to not make it.
Listen.
It stinks that you have to end on a note where you feel like you maybe didn't accomplish anything when you accomplished so much.
Coach Twirl said it best last week. There's only going to be 7 teams holding that trophy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, listen, when you look back, you're going to go and say, hey, league championship, if I win a league, a sectional championship, a semi, you're going to have all that, and that's what it is. But listen, that's what makes this, everybody in Jersey wanted it to where you come down to one true state champion. And you know what? Listen, hey, I'll tell you, I wouldn't bet against Cedar Grove. I'll tell you that right now, because listen, these kids are winners. The coach is a great coaching staff over there. And hey, when you have that chip on your shoulder and that's big. That's big. And they're playing a great team, but you know what? Cedar Grove's a great team too.
We were going to have a guest come in and break down. Zach from Big State Sports is going to join us again. He is not here. I'm not sure. Oh, hold it. There he is. Perfect timing. I love it. So let's get him in, because we are going to tap into his expertise for these 7 state tournament finals. So let's get Zach in here with us. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Great. How are you guys? Sorry, I lost track of time a little bit here, but I'm glad that I was able to make it in time to help you guys put on a good show. So how's it
I'm
going?
not going to lie, Zach. Jen was like, we don't have Zach. He's not. I never lost confidence in you, Zach. I was like, he'll be here. Jen's like, I don't know.
I did. I just realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 9:30, but here we are. Super happy to be here, guys. Thanks for asking me on again. Excited to talk about the state finals.
Awesome. That's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of roll through the games, and real quick, as Big State Sports, you don't have the state finals, but there's a lot of Thanksgiving Day games. Can you give a quick rundown of who you guys are featuring this week?
Yes. So in the Bergen County area, we don't have any NJIC teams, but we do have Dumont and Tenafly. We got that one.
Yeah.
We've got I'll be doing Hackensack Teaneck because really good friends with Coach Wrestler.
Okay.
We are doing Roselle and Roselle Park, and we'll be doing Middletown North, Middletown South.
Oh, nice.
And that Mid North Mid South game is always crazy. And they actually met in the playoffs this year. And Mid North beat them for the first time in at least 5 years. So that game's gonna have a lot of extra heat to it. So yeah, a lot of fun games, and then it's on to hockey season. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that what you do, Zach? You do hockey?
Oh yeah. Last year, me and my buddy David for Big State Sports, we each did over 110 hockey games just for Big State. And we also worked for another hockey team. Yeah. So we were at the ranks talking to teams, coaches. That's hockey is our winter football on the network. We do a lot of hockey. Yep.
That's awesome. Nice. All right. Well, let's get our first state tournament matchup here. Oh, let me switch this a little bit. Let's do it maybe like that. What do you think?
Yep.
Is that better, Kurt? Okay.
Sure.
All right. So we've got in Group 5, we've got PCTI from the north versus Washington Township from the south.
Yeah, this is no disrespect to the North teams on this end, but Washington Township played Kingsway in the group semifinal, and it was in my mind, I was like, all right, whoever wins this probably will win the state title. Only because Washington Township and Kingsway, for us on Big State Sports, were the number 6 and number 14 team in the state, respectively, whereas Bridgewater, Raritan, and PCTI were a little bit on the outside looking in. Washington Township plays an insane schedule in the WJFL. They actually had to play Kingsway twice this year. As you can see on the graphic over there, they are undefeated. They're 13-0. But the PCTI Bulldogs, I mean, you can never look past them. They're really good in a lot of different sports. And that matters in the culture of a school big time. If you win a championship in one sport, it means a lot for the other. So their hockey teams are typically pretty good. You know, their spring sports teams are usually pretty good, and then of course their football team is a force to be reckoned with. I like Washington Township in this game a lot. I think their defense is something special, but they might have a challenge against PCTI's passing attack, so that's something to keep an eye on. As I'm trying to figure out what day these games, because I know there's 3 different days.
That
Uh,
one's the 28th at MetLife.
That's at
oh yeah,
MetLife.
so
That's Friday.
I will be there for that on Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Our next, anything you want to add before we move
No,
on? Yeah,
just
we'll
like,
say-
listen,
yeah.
PCT is one of the hottest. We had Coach on,
Coach Demarest and,
Demarest on, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And
Yeah.
hey, they started off 0-2, and you know what? They got a couple revenge, right? They got the revenge on West Orange. They got, Bridgewater Raritan. They came back. So listen, this team is hot. They're, like you said, they got a great running back. They got a great passing game. So they got a lot of weapons.
Yeah, no, they certainly do. Like again, I like Washington Township a lot, but PCTI can give them a run for their money for sure.
All right, our next one is the Group 4 state championship game, and that has 11-1 Ramapo against 11-2 Winslow.
So the only team in Group 4 that I would ever be comfortable picking against Ramapo is the team that they're playing in Winslow. Winslow is they're the real deal. Now they did struggle a little bit against Brick Memorial. We had that game on our air on Saturday afternoon. It was super fun. Brick Memorial kept it absurdly close the entire time. It ended up being a 14-2 victory for Winslow at home. So you might see that and think, all right, maybe a little bit of cracks in the foundation, but I mean, this Winslow team is just silly with how good they are. They've got Division 1 players all over the place. I watched them play Phillipsburg last year in the state final, and I had never seen Phillipsburg look that on the back foot for the entire game. I don't think they'll do the same thing to this Ramapo team. This Ramapo team, I think, is a little bit bigger, faster, stronger. Casey Grusser is an amazing quarterback who can run the football really well. They're a well-coached team. But when it comes to sheer talent and then executing that talent, far be it to find a better public school than Winslow. And by the way, those only 2 losses this year are to Bergen Catholic and the IMG Academy.
Yeah.
So
Two decent teams, right? Two
two teams that are known for knowing how to move a football around. So
So Zach, real quick, when I make our picks later, I got to pick this with my heart because I am a former assistant coach at Ramapo High School.
oh,
so
there you go. Yeah.
that's going to be there. But I'm not going to lie. When I was watching the game on Big State on Saturday, I put on. I said, "What college team is this?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
These guys are men. Like, look at this team. Like,
Well,
oh
and the quarterback's just a junior, I believe, and he was a sophomore last year and threw over 40 touchdowns. So yeah,
He's
they're
41 this
silly.
year. He's got 41 this year, and their defensive line. I mean, one kid, Car Starpin's got 15 sacks. Another kid's got 11. Somebody else has 9.5. Like their D line is sick. It's crazy. So
yeah, you're not going to find a faster team than them. That's for sure.
All right, our next one is the Group 3 state championship, and we just had on. I'm sorry, this is Cedar Creek. I saw the Cedar. I went to Cedar Grove.
Oh
Cedar,
yeah.
I keep doing that on my notes. There is so Group 3 state championship, Cedar Creek versus Old Tapan.
All right, so Cedar Creek, they went into Homedale, went into the locker room at halftime down 10 and came back and won that game 48-38. I was there. Me and my one of my good friends, Luke McGinnis, who's a coach at FDU, did color for me that game, and that team is incredibly impressive. And they mainly won that team with their defense, even though they scored 48 points, because Jack Cannon might be the best player in the state of New Jersey after watching him. He ended his season with 63 total touchdowns and over 4,000 total yards. He had 5 total TDs in the loss against Cedar Creek at home. And Cedar Creek was able to slow him down just enough in that game. And the key for that on both sides of the ball was actually their quarterback, Junior Bethea. He likes to be called Junior, but his name is listed as Frenchman. He had 4 total touchdowns on offense, and then he picked off 2 passes on defense. If there's anybody that can cause some havoc on Old Tapan, it might be him. However, Old Japan has a kid named Zach Michelli, who might be the best pure quarterback in the state of New Jersey. He's got 30 TDs, couple of picks, 2,500 yards. He can run the ball fairly well. And oh, by the way, he's just a junior too. He's got like a handful of incompletions in the playoffs. This team knows how to be cool, calm, and collected. Coach Brian Dunn coached the North South Phil Sims game last year for the North, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got asked to do it again. That team is coached up really well. I will say this though, Cedar Creek, I think people have been sleeping on them all year, including myself, up until playoff time. I was like, all right, they don't really play the toughest schedule, but the WJFL teams really sneak up on you. They play a lot of tough teams down there in Southwest Jersey. Do I think Old Japan loses? Probably not, just because you pick against Old Japan at your own peril. But Cedar Creek, they're very fast on defense, and that could end up being a problem for the Knights here.
Zach, let me ask you this. Were you a little surprised? Obviously, we know we had Coach Dunn and we, up north, and we're more north with Old Japan, and we know like 17 in a row and stuff. Were you a little surprised that, they kind of got by West Morris like pretty easily? Did you think that would be a little closer game?
So I saw that game going one of a few ways. If West Morris was able to score first, which is the key to any wing T team, you kind of want to lead early. Then I thought that they might be able to give Old Japan a run for their money. The problem I saw before that game was that West Morris hadn't played anybody, in my eyes, remotely close to the talent that you're seeing in Old Japan. There's a big difference between teams that are just in the top 20 and teams that are like constantly in that top 10. There's certainly a tier there. West Morris had some impressive victories, don't get me wrong, but if you fall behind Old Japan, it's over, and they let that happen. So I wasn't shocked, but I thought that Coach Henley and the Wolfpack would be able to give them a little bit more of a run for their money. But I mean, to give West Morris credit, Old Japan could do that to anybody. So no, even if you are really good, Old Japan could still find a way to beat you. That's why Coach Dunn is. I mean, they're one win away from back-to-back state titles, and they're a team that could be back there next year too.
Our next one is the Group 2 state championship. Kind of interested to hear your thoughts on this one. We have 11-1 Shabazz versus 10-2 Camden.
All right, so it's this matchup is another one. So we have them. We do a small school top 22, top 20 comma TOO, not top 20. And we've had these teams flip-flopping in the 2-3 spot all year. And they're also in and out of the overall top 20 for us. For me, I think Camden has played a bit of a tougher schedule and has succeeded against that tougher schedule. Shabazz is a good team, but when they had to play a team like St. Peter's Prep, they got completely blown out 50-0. Now, it hasn't been an easy road for them through the playoffs either. They had to take on Westwood, and they blew the doors off of them. They barely escaped against Madison with a nice victory, but they also had to take on a couple of teams that you guys obviously are really familiar with.
Yep.
Lyndhurst and Rutherford took good care of them. I think Shabazz is the type of team that, depending on the day, they could be the best team that you'll ever see, or they'll look like very good. At the worst, they'll look very good. At the best, they'll be like, oh my goodness. And then on the side for Camden, they've just played a lot of big schools that are awesome. I mean, they beat Kingsway, which is huge. They beat Holy Spirit, who was ranked in the top 20.
They lost to Winslow, right? But not that. Wasn't it a decently?
It was only 26-8. Yeah,
Yeah.
their only losses this year are Shawnee, which is a little surprising, but Shawnee's again running team, so they can surprise people. Yeah, their only losses to Winslow. But when I look at their schedule, they have 3 wins, or rather, no, 3 wins against teams that were ranked in our top 20, which is more than Shabazz has. And Camden also has an amazing passing attack, led by Ahmad Jones, 20 TDs, couple of picks out there, and he hasn't even played the entire year. Gregory White Jr., freshman, stepped in admirably when Jones couldn't play. They also run the ball well with Christian Braxton. They have a good defense. I like what Shabazz brings to the table. They can be a little turnover prone, and that makes me think that Camden might have a slight edge in this contest. Although Shabazz, don't forget, was there last year. Even though they lost, there's something to be said about that experience playing in the championship game.
Definitely. All right, and our last public school is the Group 1 state championship, which pits Coach Gogarty's Cedar Grove. We just had Coach Gogarty on as a guest with Sebastian Kovacs against undefeated Glassboro.
So I was not surprised when I was driving home and my phone was buzzing all over the place, and I was able to just take a glance at a red light and see that Sebastian Kovacs hit a 48-yarder to win the game. I was not surprised because the week before I saw him play against New Providence. I did that game again with Luke McGinnis, and I just watched him drill touchback after touchback after touchback. And I was like, oh my goodness, this kid has probably the biggest leg I've seen in high school in quite some time. Um, Huge weapon for them. Cedar Grove is another one of these teams that plays a very tough schedule in Group One. And honestly, you can make the argument that they've played a tougher schedule than Glassboro has. And that usually for me is that indicator of who's going to win in a big game. I just don't see Glassboro losing this year. They have too many D1 prospects. They have too many college prospects on their team. Almost every single starter on their team is at least getting scouted by a college to play at the next level. I don't know how they've done it. With Coach Timmy Breaker down there and rattled off all this amazing success in the past half century, but or not, rather, I should say half decade, half century. I don't even think he's a half century old, Timmy Breaker. Good, great guy, good sense of style. Always has a cowboy hat and a leather vest on, even if it's 30 degrees. He's a great guy. Um, but I don't know if or at least I've never seen a Group One school with that much talent. This is a rematch of last year. Glassboro kind of blew out Cedar Grove. I think they'll learn a little bit from that learn a bit of a lesson from that. But I don't know. If Glassboro loses, I'll be very surprised. But I'll be very happy as an Essex County guy. I'll be very happy for Cedar Grove.
Let me say this. First off, they haven't scored less than 35 points in a game this year.
Yeah.
They scored 79 touchdowns. And then I thought this was a misprint today. I was looking up some stats and I saw a kid by the name of Brandon Simmons.
Yes.
Sacks 21.
Yep.
21.
And he did that last year too.
I mean,
Yeah, kid's an animal. He's really good. And you didn't even mention the Sab brothers.
Right.
Who both have 20 plus D1 offers. It's just something you don't see in any team, let alone a Group One school in tiny Glassboro, New Jersey. So
now let me
yeah.
ask you, Zach, was just by seeing them and stuff like that. Like Cedar Grove, we had Coach just on, and he was saying they're probably one of the teams more in New Jersey, especially like in the north, and they throw it around a lot more than a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
you think that helps them a little? Where hey, just they get down, or you know what, hey, like you're saying, they're stopping their running game, but hey, if they have to throw it, you talk about high school teams and they say, hey, you might have to throw it 40 times. That's not good news. It doesn't matter for Cedar Grove. If they have to do it, they have to do it. They can do it.
Well, Piers Osvalg is great. He can run the ball really well too. And something I like about their passing game is they're not one dimensional. Usually you'll see a team that either throws a lot of screens or they'll try to stretch the field. They'll kind of do both. They like to hit the key screens over to the outside. They like to get Taro, their running back, involved. And even if he gets stopped a couple of times by Simmons, he's so big that he can help wear down that defensive line, that it gives Osvalg a couple of chances to either A, have a little bit more time in the pocket to throw the ball downfield, or B, exhaust some of those defensive ends so that they're not catching up with the wide receivers outside on the bubbles or the key screens. So yeah, Cedar Grove can afford to fall behind a little bit in this game, but you just can't let Glassboro smell blood in the water, because if they see any weakness in you, the game's over. And that's that. I would say that against almost any opponent, they're that good. They are legitimately that good.
All right, we're going to move on to our non-public, starting with the non-public B state championship, which is Paramus Catholic versus DePaul, which is actually a rematch of a regular season game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last time they played, 26-14. DePaul was able to take down Paramus Catholic. This game to me comes down to the health of Derek Zammit. Now, I don't remember if he came back or not, but I remember hearing from our broadcaster Ryan Sudol on that game that Derek Zammit didn't finish the game in the semifinal round. I believe it was against Holy Spirit in that game. If Zammit is not able to go, that could be a big problem because Paramus Catholic is red hot. They dropped way out of our top 20 in the middle of the season. And then, the cherry on top of that was getting shut out by Don Bosco. But then they beat Del Barton. We're like, okay, they're for real. Then they put up 63 on Immaculata. We're like, that's a nice win. And then they scored 20, or rather, won by 20 against Red Bank Catholic. We're like, okay, this is a pretty legitimate team out here. They move up to 6-6 on the season. Marco Green and Rowan Martin have both been able to throw the football very, very well. And when there's a team like that where their top option goes down and their second guy is ready to go, I mean, yes, they're a private school, but it's still hard to come in halfway through the season. That's just good coaching and a good system. And I think Greg Russo has his team in a good spot. I like DePaul. I don't think that they're as good as they were last year, where they had all these crazy receivers. They had Eli Burris on the team. They had
Nolan
yeah,
James.
they had Nolan James running all over the place.
Yeah.
They don't have the peripheral talent like we had seen last year. But if Zamet's healthy, I give him a pretty good chance to win. But I would not expect this to go the same way as as they went back on the 26th of September. This is a very, very different Paramus Catholic team, and they believe in themselves too. I would, if that's the first game of the day. I think that's the first state championship game. That's
Yep.
a
10
10
a.m.
a.m.
I think.
tilt.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that'll get us off to a really good start on Friday for me and the rest of the crew hanging out in the press area.
You know what, Zach? You make a great point too, because like you said with Zaman, right? And listen, I mean, if that kid, unless he's like can't walk, he's gonna be there, right?
He's gonna
But
play,
he's
yeah.
gonna play. But the thing is, like, he's a dual threat, right? And he had a lot of success running the ball also versus Paramus Catholic in that game.
Yeah.
So it's how many design runs is Coach Campanelli gonna call for him? And like that's the key, right? Like I think he'll be okay with it's the mobility part of and the running game, because they depend on him in their run game. So that's going to be the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, is can they work it on the ground against Paramus Catholic? Because if you can slow the game down, that's trouble for them because they want to get into a shootout. I mean, you can see it by the scores that they've put up. They actually remind me a lot of Homedale. They're a team that they have some good players on defense, but ultimately they have a tough time against other good offenses, which DePaul has. So they want to get into a situation where they possess the ball a lot and then they maybe only have to stop you once or twice. They don't want to get into a situation where the game is slowed down and their offense doesn't have the ball a lot. So yeah, you're 100% right. If DePaul can figure it out on the ground, they have a pretty good chance against Paramus Catholic. If Paramus Catholic can make it a shootout, then we might see the Paladins carrying home their first state title in a while.
The records here are so deceptive, right? It's
Yeah.
just a test
Oh yeah.
how they battle it out with all the non-publics, a lot of non-public A's that they cross over with as well. Which brings us to our non-public A championship, which is St. Joe's of Montvale versus Don Bosco.
So this was probably the closest game that Bosco played in the regular season, outside of the Bergen Catholic game, which was decided by 5 points. This game was only decided by 3. St. Joe's Montvale kept it very, very close. I really like the way that Don Bosco took down Bergen Catholic last week at home, beat him by a couple of scores. They looked very good in that contest, very confident. I mean, to beat Bergen Catholic once in the season is an accomplishment. To beat them twice, almost unheard of, especially in the last decade, as they've really dominated the state of New Jersey. Preseason, everybody is, I don't want to say dark horse pick because we all knew they were good, but everybody's like kind of sleeper pick to win it all was the St. Joe's Montvale squad, because they just have so much talent, and Augie Hoffman's a great coach. Regardless of who's under center, whether it's Lamar Best or Mason Geis, you're gonna get a top-notch quarterback in there. They run the football okay, not exactly as amazingly as you would normally see teams at this level. Although Keyshawn Bryant's been great, 579 yards. Nathan Bailey's been a big time threat with his 9 touchdowns on the season. They have a pretty good defense. 14 sacks, 41 tackles for a loss. For Don Bosco though, if I'm them, the number one thing I'm saying as Coach Sabella is last week was not the state championship. This is. I know
Yep,
you're
you're
really
right.
happy to take down Bergen Catholic twice in the same season, but you got to leave some gas left in the tank to take down these Green Knights because they're no joke. We saw them earlier in the season. They're very tough. They're incredibly tough to game plan for. And yeah, just because we're the top dog doesn't mean you're necessarily going to stay there. And an issue I can see in this game, and it has nothing to do with his talent, it has nothing to do with what I've seen from him so far. But their starting quarterback is a sophomore, Carson Shane. That's Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants. That's his son. And you just always in the back of your mind have to remember, all right, this is a young kid, 15, 16 years old, high pressure situation. How are they going to deal with it emotionally? Now, he could prove me absolutely right. I mean, he's certainly kept his cool in some other big games before, but now he's literally playing at his dad's office.
Yep.
Under the lights,
Biggest game
at
of the year,
MetLife
7
Stadium.
o'clock spot. Zach, I'm going to talk about this because you talked about a rematch, Jen, and listen to this, right? And I mean, this is a testament of just how good the Bosco defense is, right? Because they
Yeah.
won that game. But if you go back and now you're going to watch that film, and if St. Joe's is watching, and obviously Coach, Augie is watching that film, but, they had 350 plus yards of total offense that game.
Yeah.
Bosco that game had 120 yards of total offense. That's
Mhm.
it. I mean, so when you look at that game on paper, it's St. Joe's won that game, right? Like, no, Bosco won that game. So yeah, their defense is legit, Bosco. But it's not like St. Joe's did a lot. St. Joe's moved that ball and Bosco didn't. I think Bosco's offense is going to have to play a little better in this game.
Yeah, their offense doesn't terrify me. And again, Carson Shane has more than proved himself as a great quarterback on this team, even as a sophomore. And when it comes to these non-public A's, they won't always have the flashy stats that you'll see from some public schools because every game they play is against an elite opponent. So yeah, you're not going to dominate everybody that you play against, even if you are the top dog like Don Bosco Prep. But I still like what we got from Carson Shane this year. He completed well over 50% of his passes, 1,400 yards, kept the ball in his hands, only 6 picks, 13 TDs, and helped that making good decisions in the running game too. I mean, they ran the ball fairly well, and he's a really good fit for a team that's very defense first. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes, and I think that's where St. Joe's Montville have to be careful because they're like, all right, Bosco is not going to beat themselves.
Yep.
We got all these yards last time. How do we find a way to actually beat them and be on the right side of maybe a 17-14 type of game? Because I don't see this being a high scoring affair. Then again, every time I say that in a playoff game, it ends up being barn
Right.
burner.
48-44.
So much for predictions. Yeah.
Zach, real quick before you go, we got a question from Dale, and do this quick if you could.
Yeah,
Are there
totally.
any kids that you know of that are playing in the finals heading to Rutgers?
Heading to Rutgers, off the top of my head, I don't think so, but that doesn't mean that they're not. I just don't
Okay.
have I
Okay.
don't have it in front of me. But there are a lot of players that are going
Big
D1,
time.
D3.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not even just the non-public games. It's Winslow, Glassboro.
Yep.
Like they're basically college teams. So if you want to watch some entertaining games, we don't have them on Big State Sports, but our really good friends at NJ.com have them. My buddy Dan Long's going to be doing all 4 of them. He calls a tremendous game. So yeah, enjoy it over there. If you can't make it to I'll be at the stadium all day. Me and my crew, we're going to shoot a lot of videos. Make a lot of fun stuff, write some articles. So you can check all that out at bigstatesports.com or on our Instagram at Big State Sports. And if you like hockey, we're starting on the 3rd of December. So buckle up. It's gonna be a good time.
Right around the corner. Yeah, for sure. One
I know
right
it
under
snuck
the
up
other.
on us.
Always. Zach, thank you so much. We love having you on. We always say we love you guys do a Big State
Yep.
Sports.
Thank you.
We are, of course, always watching, and we appreciate the time you take out of your busy schedule to come join
And
us.
have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I will as soon as I'm done with Tina Kackensack.
Okay. Enjoy.
All right,
Thank you,
take
Zach.
it easy, guys. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great
There's
breakdown.
Dale saying excellent analysis, and he did a great job. He's seen a lot of these teams,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
down south.
Yep.
They covered a
Mhm.
lot of that stuff, and listen, they do an unbelievable job there. Listen, like he said, he's listen, we're going to be busy. You know, we're going to be doing our stuff on the weekend, on Friday and Saturday, you know, on Sunday with the games. But hey, listen, we'll have them on. We'll be watching them. So,
Yeah, 100%.
but no, they do a great job over there.
All right. Well, let's move on to I'll have a quick little set. We're gonna bring Coach Tuero in for a quick little topics with Tuero. Excuse me. Got to go with the alliteration.
Correct. Yeah.
And then we'll get to our actual picks. So let's bring Coach Tuero in.
There he is.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. So I just saw. I assumed it was 10 o'clock. I wasn't sure what time. I saw your email. I didn't realize that I could have been.
No, and it wound up being 10 o'clock.
We're on time. All right.
We're on time.
I was like, oh my! I saw the email. I go, oh my God, were they waiting for me?
No.
Not at all.
Right,
not at all. Thanks, Coach. We just appreciate having you. So no worries.
Look at this. You have your own little look. You have your little nameplate on there now. You're like, you fit right in, Coach.
How we doing, guys?
We're good. We're good. First of all, before we forget, you
What's
and your
up?
family have a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Of course,
Happy
you too,
Thanksgiving.
man. You too. You guys listen, enjoy. I'm looking forward to it. We got really good. I love Thanksgiving. It's time with the fam. Everybody's happy. A couple days off.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right, Coach. I'm going to roll into my first topic with you. I'm going to go first. I know Kurt's very fired up.
I've been
on
fired
this
up for this topic.
So I'll like let him, have the highlight of the second topic. But my first topic is actually Coach Sheridan from St. Mary's has wanted to come on, I'm going to say for a couple of years now, and actually talk about this. So I want to pick your brain about it, about the transfer portal in college and kind of what it's doing to high school seniors in recruiting, if you think it's hurting them with the transfer portal.
Big time. It's a whole new world. It's sad, really. It's not. I don't want to sound like a crybaby about it, but it's crazy. They're paying these kids. It's so easy for them to get anyone else. The amount of coaches I speak to now, it's a fraction of what it used to be. It's just so different. I don't want to, be like I said, like a crybaby about it. Like, oh my God, like woe is me for these kids. But the reality is, like, the opportunities are so much less. It's just hard. The coaches are, and I know a lot of coaches in the industry. I know I got a lot of connections with guys that are there, and they just look at the portal. And I mean, obviously, I would too. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? But now with the way you can buy guys, it's scary. It's crazy how much it's changed. It's definitely hurting these kids. It's definitely hurting these kids without a doubt.
I've heard so many from both sides, like college coaches who've said in all sports, not just football specific, but things like, well, I don't even recruit in high school anymore. Like I just go to the portal, but yeah.
I don't want to say names, but I could tell you right now, there's kids that you've had this year on this show, legit players in the NJIC. And the reason I don't want to say names is because I don't want to talk about their life and their situation. But like, I know I just had a conversation at our most recent meeting of a kid, like one of the other coaches was like, Rich, like, hey, do you know anyone looking for a guy? Because this kid had an offer, he was getting a scholarship, and then they found someone in the portal, and now he's out. Like, they're just dropping kids.
But Coach,
really,
do you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think that's because like coaches have to save their job, and it's like I can't wait and like listen, I know this kid can at least step in, and I can't, have this freshman kid, and now he's not going to be ready. Like, do you think that's what it is? Like
it probably plays into a factor, but really the reality is it's no different than the non-publics. Like when it comes to high school. So for example, like when kids are recruiting, people are getting recruited all the time. Kids in Lyndhurst all the time. It happens. And I never talk bad about the other schools. I just say, listen, it's all good. You want to send your kid there, but just know that they're always looking for the next best guy. And if the next best guy comes, your kid's out. Yeah. That's the reality of it. And it's the same thing with these college guys. Like, they're recruiting these kids, and this kid that we're talking about, he had a great year. It's not like he had a bad year and it was like, hey, we're not taking it. This kid had a phenomenal year, and just the one I'm talking about. And yeah, just losing your offer, losing your scholarship opportunity, just because they found someone else or someone in the portal came along. Friends play with this. There's so many variables. If your buddy is going there and you're a stud and say, hey, the only way I'm coming is if you bring, Johnny, they're gonna bring that kid too. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. It's definitely hurting kids.
I've heard parents saying the same thing that you're saying, that like their kids just aren't even getting like the looks anymore. Like it's just so hard. Yeah. So it's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy. A lot changed with this the NIL money and and with the portal the way it is, it's wild. It's like free agency. All every year it's free agency.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your
course.
thoughts.
I love these topics. I love talking about this stuff.
All right, my topic. This is probably just going to be an opening because we're probably going to have to do a whole show on this topic because I know I can go, you can go, but here's the topic, right? And just you got to give me like a minute just to me to get it all out, right?
Wait, before you go, is this the one that you've been like?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope
it
you
is.
didn't hype it up too
No,
much.
it is.
No. I've been. It's not hyped. I've just been like, I wonder
I
what
think
it is.
because you know what? I think you can use the word like controversial, right? I really think it is, but I have a strong belief in this, right?
Okay.
Like, my belief is that a head coach in a high school football, right? You're the head coach of Lyndhurst. You're the, you know what, as much as you're the face of, that is your program. That is, you are the face. When they say, hey, Lyndhurst won a state championship, who was that coach? It was Coach Twirl. Hey, Lyndhurst won 2 games. Who was the coach? It was Coach Twirl. That's just the reality of life. That's how it is on all sports, but especially for football. So I think, and again, I don't want to use your Lyndhurst situation because you're a Lyndhurst kid. You knew a lot of the guys. So we're just going to play a hypothetical here.
Sure.
Okay? You, for whatever reason, become a head coach somewhere else. I firmly believe 100% that you should go into any school you're going, should have 100% say in who your assistant coaches are going to be. Meaning, if John Williams is the offensive coordinator at School A for 42 years and he's a teacher, if you want to bring your offensive coordinator from Lyndhurst, you should. I think that it's too much of, and I was an assistant coach for a lot of years, so I'm saying it myself, but I never really thought I should have this assistant job if 2 more coaches come in. I didn't. And I don't believe it should be like that. You're the head coach. Because you know what? If you go to another school and you go 1-10, that's on you. That they're going to come after you. They're going to say, you're no good. You shouldn't have been hired, yada, yada, yada. So I think that if you ever left, or any other coach, you should be able to go and say, hey, my opinion, I'll meet with those coaches, but I'm probably bringing Castagnetti with me. I might bring Autieri. That's my opinion. What's your thoughts on it?
1,000,000%. Without, there's no hesitation. I'm not going anywhere without my boys. Now, I have a lot of pride in my staff. Like these guys, they've been with me from the start. And I'm proud of it because you see everywhere how there's not a consistency in staffs and consistency in coaching. One, I believe it's very important for the kids, but the number one thing when you're a head coach, the number one thing is you have to be able to trust your staff, period. Because like you're saying, it's all, at the end of the day, it's all on me. And people are going to talk. Right? No, not everyone's going to agree with what I do and how I do things, and there's always going to be an opinion, and I'm not going to make everybody happy. But what's most important, and this is known within my staff, and if you look at the guys on my staff, it's all Lyndhurst guys that I trust, kids that I've coached. I say kids, but they're adults now. But you need guys that are going to be talking good about you when you're not in that room. And I know that's like that cliche quote, but that's the reality of it. One of the biggest things, like I've always said, and I don't want to say always said because I don't have to say it anymore, but we don't ever say, there's no conversation of, oh, well, I would do it this way. No. It's how we do it. This is my program, but this is how we do things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and now think about my situation. I took over the head coach job at Lyndhurst. Joe Castagnetti was the head coach. Joe coached me. I was as a kid. And everyone was like, oh, how does it go? Joe is I'm not gonna act like we're brothers. We fight, we have disagreements, but at the end of the day, Joe always respects me and does whatever I'm gonna want or do. And that trust, like I trust Joe and Patty and Danny and Maddie. I trust these guys with all my heart. Like I know they again, like there's gonna be disagreements. There's gonna be times where we're not on the same page with everything. But at the end of the day, out of the respect and the care, and the number one thing is love, because we love each other. That's most important. I cannot be on a staff. I won't hire you if I don't trust you. I'd rather not hire a coach than hire some guy that I don't trust. That's the number one thing. So if I ever went to another job, which I'm never going anywhere
Right.
unless they wanted me out, but if that was ever the situation, or who knows, college one day in the future.
Right.
But remember, I got my 2 girls, guys. I signed a contract with my girls that I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So I don't plan on going nowhere. But if they're telling me you got to hire this guy and this guy, I'm not. There's no way, because I need to be able to trust you, and I can't be worried that you're going to be talking to this guy or that guy about me behind my back or not supporting what we're doing here. No way.
But and real quick, John, we got one more point to this is. And again, not to throw blame it, but I think like when it's the word as an assistant coach, quote unquote, stipend, right? Like, and I'm going to give you a situation that I was in, and it's going to be fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Because like a lot of schools have, and this might be where you're going. To forgive me if I'm usurping you. That you have to go. Oh, it has to go to somebody in-house first.
Yes.
Oh, is that what you're going to say? Yeah.
Yes.
I ran into that. My job, I was an out-of-district coach, and my job used to get posted every year. One year I didn't even know, like in the paper, like publicly, right? So I was the varsity coach for 2 sports, and I would get phone calls from my friends like, did you resign? I'm like, what are you even talking about? They're like, your job is posted. I called my AD. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, Jen, I have to do it because we have to offer it to like somebody in school first. Like he's like, but like that's crazy. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, like I'll give you a situation. When I was in Lyndhurst, right, Coach Ristol, and that's Coach Ristol. I'm not going to use the teacher name, but he said to me, "Hey, I want you to be the girls' freshman basketball coach." I'm like, "All right, cool." So comes down to the office, whatever. And there was a teacher in school, and off here I'll tell you who it is because you're going to be like, "No way they put in," but. She actually came and she didn't even realize I was applying for the job. And she, Vistola wanted me. So she came in my office when Vistola was there and she said, I want this. I'm putting in for this job. I know nothing about it, but I need the money. She couldn't tell you a basketball was brown and round.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
But this is the truth. Now, I wasn't a teacher. So I was but I wasn't in like the teacher union. So Vistola basically was like, if she fights for this, like, I have to hire her. Like, that's absurd. Think about how absurd. Now, what happened was they found, like, I don't know if it was like an assistant play thing, and she took that, and I was Vistola's freshman. But in reality, like, they were actually saying, like, he had to prove, like, her, quote unquote, like, incompetent to, like, not get the job, or they're going to fight at the union. That's where I think, like, it can't be like like football, all sports, like, it can't be a quote unquote stipend. Oh, I just want to pick up money. Like, that's a job, man. Like, that is a job. Like, the head coach, but even an assistant, like, it has to be more of just like a stipend to somebody. Like, oh, how can I make some more money? And I think some schools do it. It's just like Jen's saying, well, hey, if I played junior football 30 years ago, so I should be the assistant. And now that head coach can't go out and go get like a real coach because they have to hire somebody within because that person wants a stipend. I think that's crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know if that's real anymore. I can't believe Butchie allowed. Butchie was for
no,
that.
No, not that he allowed it. I just think she basically was like saying, I'm going to like fight this, like, because through my union, like I go first. She didn't even know, like, she didn't realize like I was even applying, but he basically was like, if she really fights for it, she's going to get that job because she is a teacher. She's in the union. Now, again, it was the way it worked out. She found something. I was his coach, but think about how many situations when it's like that. And there are schools that, again, I don't know if it's changed a little, but there are schools, Jen, you say it like it
happened in Montville as well.
That's how it is. Like, hey,
no doubt. No, yeah, it definitely does happen. And I'm honestly blessed with the support that I have with, I have Laura Vuno as my principal. Joe DeCorso, our superintendent's awesome. Jeff Radigan, obviously, is my AD. So, like, this, for example, I lost John Lasella. John went to West Essex this year. And there was a couple of teachers in district and building that were interested in the job. But I hired Petey Guerrero because Petey Guerrero is Petey Guerrero, obviously.
Yeah.
And I trust him with all my heart, and I love him to death. And honestly, I'm so glad I did. But I think maybe because of, how long I've been here and how long I've been doing it, it wasn't a big issue. Jen, I do share that with you that my job gets posted every year. and everyone knows it's my job, obviously. But like sometimes, like a random teacher will like screenshot the posting and post it out on social media, and that's when I get a phone call like, "Yo, Rich, you leaving?" Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, dude. Like, it's not." So I do get that does happen. We do get it does get posted. I don't think it gets put in the paper.
This is going back. Gosh, I've been out of coaching now for what 9-10 years.
But just
and
think,
this was,
but
and
just
then this
think,
was, and this
No,
was when I
but-
was a new coach as well. So I was like in my early 20s, and I
Sure.
was like,
No,
yeah.
I'm telling you, I've been there. Like in the beginning, I was like, "Yo, what are we doing?" And it was like, "Oh no."
my AD was like, Jen, if anybody, and now keep in mind, I coach two sports that like very little people have any interest in coaching, field hockey and lacrosse, right? Not that many people that at the time, especially, it's grown a lot. But anyway,
Sure.
like Jen, if anybody calls, I tell them it's filled. I'm like, okay.
No, of course, and I get that. But no, Kurt, to answer your question, I would never accept the job if they told me who I had to hire. Because
right. But see, and again, 30 seconds, I promise I'll because Jen's going to start nudging me. But I guess my main point, because this is where me and Jen argued a couple times, is like, just say, you're not a Lyndhurst guy. You come from the outside. Castagnetti's been in Lyndhurst, does a great job, but Castagnetti's been in Lyndhurst, defensive coordinator for 30 years. I do not think at all that, well, he's been there. He should. I don't believe that. Like, if you want to hire, if you were from Pompton Lakes and you want to bring your defensive coordinator and Lyndhurst wants you as the head coach, listen, you're probably going to go and sit with Castagnetti, hear him out. Okay, whatever. But in your mind, listen, I'm bringing John Johnson. He's been with me. I mean, don't you think that's how it should be?
100%. I got to listen. I'll call you when we're done because I got a great story for you.
But I can't see how somebody can argue with that. I can't.
Your head's gonna
It's
explode.
my wife and I argue with her sometimes.
Your head's gonna explode when I tell you this story. You're gonna be like, "What? That happened?" Yeah, I've been there. I've been there, and thank God it all worked out. But I was in that exact situation when I got hired, and I'll leave it at that. I'll call it. You have a show after this or no?
No, we're good. We're good.
I'll call you later. You
all right, but listen, it's a great topic.
Well, I always try to say to Kurt like that. I feel like football is like in a league of its own, so many different ways, right? And that like I coached two, different sports where it was like a little bit different. Like I had trouble getting staff who were knowledgeable in the sport, right? And I had a couple of occasions when I was first hired. Now, granted, I was 24 at the time, so I knew nothing, right? But I was told that this person was going to be on my staff, and I was just like, oh, is this how it goes? Because I was young and naive, right? And yeah, it was terrible. Like
you don't
terrible.
Yeah.
And then but I had other times where I had trouble like finding someone, and we're like begging people almost like I just needed a body sometimes to even like, just be my assistant, like in my early stages. And I got better, but so I try to always make them understand that, and not every sport is like football.
No, you're right. It's true. Like, listen, and I learned that, now I'm the head track coach. It's like, track is like a whole nother language and world. Like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into there, but I love track. But like you're saying, like there's nothing like football. It's just different. Like there's so many components, so many things that you got to be prepared for, and having guys. That's why I'm always saying, like, I have the greatest staff in the world, because these guys, like, and we're brothers. Like I love these guys with all my heart. So I couldn't see myself coaching with people that like I don't know or trust. I could never do that.
All right.
That's
Coach.
great topic.
Yeah, thank you for your input on our topics this evening.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's get into our games for the week. We're going to start off with a couple 5 Thanksgiving Day games. So, Coach, we're going to start off with East Orange and Barringer.
I'm going to take East Orange here. Now Barringer is fighting back. They've went through a couple of rough seasons, but seeing they got their 2 wins this year, which is awesome to see for them, because I know that they're a program that's been just fighting to get back on top. But East Orange is a pretty damn good team, and I'm going with those guys.
Kenny is also picking East Orange by a score of 28-7, and I agree as well. I think East Orange is going to be a little too much for Barringer at this point.
East Orange, the only losses they had were to West Orange and PCTI, who played in the sectional final. So they're a pretty damn good team. I'm going East Orange.
Right.
Our next Thanksgiving Day game is Patterson Eastside, Patterson Kennedy.
This is great. This is a great battle here. I actually, when I coached at Clifton, we went to East Side, the Ghosts, baby. But you know what? I'm going to go with Kennedy. You know, hungry team. They're obviously they're 0-8. They haven't won in a while, but they had a couple weeks to prepare. Maybe they come out and come swinging and win this game in an upset.
All right, Kenny is picking Eastside by a score of 21-10. I have Eastside in this one as well. I think they've won this meeting the last 6 times. Coach, I have to tell you really quickly, when I was in like junior high and high school, my father used to take me to the Eastside Kennedy basketball games. Those games, they were amazing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
We had Coach. What's his? Oh my God, I can't think of his
You
name.
had him sing Fair East Side.
Yeah, but he actually said Coach when we had him on, head coach from East Side. Is it Maga?
I can't remember.
Magazine. How
Yeah,
you say it?
been, yeah.
Well, anyway, Coach, he said he hates this game.
Yeah.
He said this is the game he hates because listen, they're like brothers outside. It's a community, so. I know we're always like, how fired up? He goes, I hate this game. I the kids don't like it. So, but I'm going to take East Side. I'll go with Coach. Yeah, we had him sing the alma mater when he came on. So
We did. All right, next one is a controversial matchup right here. We got Shabazz. We going in between prior to their state tournament final.
Oh, wait, breaking news. Keith Brugman saying, Coach, you got the talent for the booth or the desk whenever you want to retire. I love listening to you.
I love it. That's awesome. Listen, I enjoy doing this. So if you want to keep talking ball after the season, football ends this week, I'm in.
Let's go.
You let me know. I'm in. Just text me. I'm in.
Just a little. Right. We're planning on some kind of like 2 NJIC award show, just so it gets you a heads up.
Awesome.
And stuff, so.
Awesome. Are we doing? Are we going to be doing Shabazz and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shabazz is twice on this show.
That's a first.
You want me to talk about Shabazz now, or you want me to talk about Shabazz in the next
We
one?
just want your pick for this game.
Okay.
And you know what? I need 30 seconds for you from this. How are you coaching this game? Are you Shabazz? All out, worrying about playing Wednesday, or what would you do?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I'm not going all out. I'm letting my big dogs rest 100%.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, there ain't no way Nas is sitting his guys. They're playing. I guarantee it. But I'm going to go with Shabazz by a landslide.
All right, Kenny's picking. Kenny's got a look ahead upset here. He's picking Week by a score of 24-20. I'm with you, Coach. I got Shabazz here. I said, could they be looking ahead? I don't think it's going to matter, though.
We all know how good Westwood is, right? We had Westwood on last week, and we all said they held them to 123 total yards of offense last week.
They didn't cross the 40 until the fourth quarter.
They held line to 12 carries, 33 yards, but 123 total yards of offense. And we know how good Westwood is. So I'm going with Shabazz, too.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Our next Thanksgiving Day game is Teaneck at Hackensack.
I'm going with Hackensack, man. Brett is ready to rock and roll. This is a huge rivalry game. But we had the Hackensack in the 7-on-7 in the summer, and their quarterback's a stud. They have really good players all over the place. I didn't really see Teaneck play, but I know Coach Wrestler and these guys, they're going to be ready to rock and roll. They've been itching to play. He asked me to play. I said, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? He reached out to me after our loss to Shabazz. I said, no, I'm not playing you. Are you crazy? We're not playing Hackensack. But, I got the comments, baby.
All right, Kenny is picking Teaneck by a score of 24-20. I'm going to go Hackensack here. Teaneck has won their last 3 games in a row, but Hackensack has played Ramapo twice,
Right.
Ridgewood, Northern Highlands, and Wayne Valley. Those are their losses.
Yeah.
That's some pretty good
Right.
competition right there. So I think their record is, a little deceiving. So I'm going Hackensack.
That's my notes too, Jen. Look at the schedule Hackensack has. So I'm with you guys. I'm going Hackensack.
That's what I said to Brett, by the way. I said, I see your losses, bro. Come on.
Yep.
Come on, man.
All right, our next matchup is, I believe we said the oldest Thanksgiving
Rivalry.
Yeah.
Okay. Tenafly at Dumont.
I'm going with Dumont. Montclair State left guard Mike Farrington, head coach Dumont, my boy. I know he's going to have those guys ready to go. He had a great year this year after a couple rough seasons. Mike's going to be itching to get back out there because they had a couple weeks off, and I'm going with Dumont.
We tried to get Coach Farrington. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him tonight, but they're having like a historic season there. So,
Oh, yeah.
Kenny's picking Dumont by a score of 34-23. I have Dumont in this one as well.
Dumont has some nice wins, and even their losses. I think they lost to like Ramsey, who's in a sectional final, lost like 27-20. So I'm going with you guys. I'm going to take Dumont too.
All right, now we roll into our state tournament matchups. We'll start with Group 5, which is PCTI versus Washington Township.
I'm sticking with PCTI. I'm sticking with Anthony Muir's offense. These guys are ready to rock and roll. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the highlights. They are loaded. I don't know anything about Washington Township. I saw their schedule, but I don't know those teams that they play. But I know what PCTI is bringing, and they're hungry. I believe did they lose in this game last year? Or no, they lost to Union City in the sectional.
They didn't win the section last year.
They lost to Union City in the sectional final last year, right? These kids are ready to rock and roll. They're coming back, and I think they're going to finish the job this week.
Jen, before you read Kenny's comments, Dale's saying about the Tenafly Dumont game. He says there are people from Tenafly who will walk to and from that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
So,
all right. The Kenny in this matchup is picking Washington Township by a score of 27-21. We had Zach on earlier talking about this game, and Washington Township has 5 shutouts on the season.
Mhm.
In 12 of their 13 games, they have scored 35 points or more. And the time they didn't score 35, I think they had 21. So, we had Coach Demarest on with, was it Kadir? Kadir Young was with him, right? I'm a huge PCTI fan. I just love what Coach Demarest does with that team. Always has them ready to go. But I think I'm going Washington Township on this one.
all right. You know what? You talked about Jen. You took some good notes tonight, Jen. Since September 19th, they haven't scored less than 35 points, right? So they definitely put up points. But I'm with Coach Twirl on this, Mike. PCTI. We had Kadir on last week or whatever, 2 weeks ago it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did last week in a state semifinal, 15 carries, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns. So and they could also throw the ball, right, with the kid Miles. I'm going PCTI, Coach Twirl. Let's go, baby.
Like it. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Our next one is the Group 4 state championship, Ramapo versus Winslow.
This is a crazy game right here. Like these are 2 powerhouse programs. Winslow is loaded. Ramapo is Ramapo, and you know what happened last time. I'm sticking with the family, Kurt. I'm not going against the Poe. I'm not going against the Poe ever again.
Let's go.
I'm taking Ramapo to be the Group 4 state champs.
All right. And so is Kenny. He's picking Ramapo by a score of 34-31. Every time I pick against Ramapo, I don't even want to say it in front of Coach Breslin. I feel like so guilty when I say it in front of Coach. But I'm hoping that I'm going to go with Winslow in this one. We talked about it when Zach was on. Their 2 losses are to Bergen Catholic and the IMG in Florida.
Those are their 2 losses.
That's crazy.
We talk about, Coach, you probably appreciate this, right? Especially when come tournament time, sometimes you get that scare game, right? And I think last week against Brick, I'm just surprised they got held to 14, let alone how close it was, but it was a 14-12 game because they can put up points.
And that kid missed a field goal from Brick, a 20-yard field goal with less than 2 minutes. They almost lost that game. So Brick played with them.
So I'm going Winslow on this one.
Coach Twirl, you're going to like this. Defensive line from Winslow, they got a kid that has 15 sacks. They have a kid that has 11 sacks. They have another kid that has 9.5. I'm not lying. I put the game on Saturday. I was just like, I just want to see the score. Because Coach Breslin was saying how good Winslow is. I swear to God, I'm like, is this a college game? This team, you got to see these kids.
I can't wait. I'm going to watch all these games, so I'm looking forward to
their
it.
Quarterback, he's a junior. He threw for 41 touchdowns this year, over 3,400 yards, 41 touchdowns. But like you said with the family, man, if there's a team that can go down to Rutgers and play with them, it's Ramapo. Listen, that offense, it's hard. Listen, that Oregon style offense, that no huddle, that quick, and they just run it to perfection. And you know what? They're more physical this year too. They run the ball with the kid Hayward, right? We know Grusser is Grusser, and their defense has made stops, right? They made that goal line stop against Highlands. They shut down a nice Phillipsburg team. Remember, Phillipsburg punished them last year, not this year, right? Not this year. I'm going stay in the family, baby. Give me Ramapo.
All right, I'm on this one. Rooting for Ramapo.
I'm going to get Coach Keith Wegman's question with Coach when we're done with the picks.
All right,
here's a question. I'll get.
All right, our Group 3 state championship is Cedar Creek versus undefeated Old Tappan.
So this one is actually, kind of crazy. So the head coach of Cedar Creek, Jimmy Melody, I played with him at Montclair State. He was younger than me. He was a backup quarterback. So I know the guy really, really well. I'm rooting for him. I'm doing kind of like you just said. I'm rooting for Cedar Creek, but you can't go against Coach Dunn, man. Old Tappan is just a powerhouse program. They keep winning. They keep knocking off really good football teams. I'm taking Old Tappan on this one.
Yeah, Kenny has Old Tappan in a close one by a score of 27-23. I have Old Tappan also last year's Group 3 championship. They have a 17-game win streak going on right now. I'm going Old Tappan.
When we had Zach on, he said the quarterback, Junior Badea, 30 touchdowns passing and rushing combined. But he also said that the kid Zachary Maselli, the quarterback from Old Tappan, he said that he thinks he is the best quarterback in North Jersey.
Yeah.
In North Jersey, he said. So that was interesting. I'm with you though, Coach. And they were impressive versus West Morris. I mean, West Morris was undefeated 35-0. And listen,
that was supposed to be a game.
Back.
Like people thought that was going to be a game. I mean, they pulled them out.
Never look back. I'm going with Coach Dunn. Until somebody beats that man, I'm taking Old Tappan.
Yeah.
All right. Our next one, moving down to Group 2. Coach, this is where you get to tell us about Shabazz and Camden.
Shabazz is exactly what we said they were. I told you they weren't losing to a team in the North. They had that scare game with Madison, and kudos to them. And listen, Westwood was dealing with some injuries, but the reality is I don't think that really made that much of a difference. I was there. I went to the game. McDonald didn't even score. He played tremendous on defense. That's number one. That's their kid that's going to Stanford. The kid number 5, oh my God, he's only a junior. He had 5 touchdowns. He was unbelievable. I don't know much about Camden. I said it to you guys 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. I said if they're going to lose to anybody, it's Camden. But I think Shabazz is rolling, and I'm going with Shabazz. They're going to take the Group 2 state championship, and then do me a favor and get out of Group 2, please. Don't come back. I love you. I'm your biggest fan, but please, it's all good. Take the championship and don't come back to.
Well, I read somewhere that they're going to be Group 3 next year.
Yes, that's what I heard as well. Actually, their coach said it to me after our game. But again, and it's funny. The AD came up to me at the game the other day, and he said, "Thank you for all the nice words you've been saying on the show," which is pretty cool. I like that. But I mean it. I mean the team's awesome. They're doing a great job. Their coaches are doing a great job. The kids are, they have great football players, and I'm rooting for Shabazz to win this one, finish it out, and go to Group 3.
Get out of there.
Yeah, get out of Group 2, please. Give me a shot.
Kenny is picking Shabazz by a score of 31-21, and I have Shabazz as well as this one. Camden. Obviously, sometimes I feel like I lean towards the North teams. We just know them better. But Camden with their, and Zach mentioned earlier as well, with their 2 losses, one being to Shawnee, which is probably a little bit of an outlier, but the other one is to Winslow. Yeah.
Who we're talking about, Ramapo's going to have their hands full as a Group 4 school, and that game was like 26-12. It was Camden hung in there with them.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about not sure about Camden, so I did a little research on them, Coach. 54 sacks on the season. Kid Jerome Foster, 17.5 sacks. So I hope Shabazz can block him. Ran for 2,500 yards, like Jen said. But you know what? When I'm wrong, I'm a man of my words, and I'm wrong. You know what? You sold me on Shabazz. I watched them the last 2 weeks. Honestly, the more impressive thing is when the 2 weeks ago when they came back like that. Like I said, I went downstairs. They scored. How are they up 2 scores? So I'm with you, man. You know what? I think they've been the first team ever to have be in our pick segment twice. Right, I think they're going to win twice, and I think Shabazz gets it done.
No doubt.
Twice for Group 2.
Yeah.
Okay, and get out.
Yeah, go ahead. See ya.
All right, and then our last public school final, Cedar Grove and Glassboro.
Glassboro is absolutely loaded. They are a powerhouse football team. I think Gogarty's had a great run. What an awesome, walk-off field goal by that sophomore kicker. I mean, are you kidding me? That was insane. What was it, 48 yards?
48.
Oh my
God! And he would have been, and I'd say 6. I'm saying easily 6 more yards. Easy.
It was a bomb.
Brilliant.
I mean, I watched it live, and every time we kick a field, you can't see from the field. You have no
Yep.
idea. So I'm always looking at the reaction. And Cedar Grove had a whole bunch of kids in the end zone there. Like, you saw them put their hands up, and I was like, oh, my God, it's good. It was insane. What a cool way to win. I felt bad for Coach Luciani and the Butler guys losing that game. Like I said, my best friend's son's on that team. I felt bad for the way that ended. What a great football game, right? I mean, awesome game. But I think Cedar Grove has the road is going to end here because Glassboro is loaded. I think they would beat some other teams that are playing this week. They're a pretty loaded football team.
All right, Kenny agrees with you, is picking Glassboro by a score of 34-24. As we've mentioned, this is a rematch of last year's group final. Glassboro prevailed, 56-14, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
They have 8 shutouts on the year, 26 straight wins. They're putting back-to-back undefeated seasons here.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since November 26, 2023 to Mountain Lakes, which ended their season, I think, that year. Actually, I'm not sure if it ended their season. I think
it was Mountain Lakes,
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, I know. We'll be rooting, my northern prevalence here. We'll be rooting for Coach Gogarty, but I think Glassboro's going to be a little much.
Again, real quick, one more shout out to Butler because Coach just mentioned them with Coach Luciani and David Smith and that whole group. But hey, back-to-back NJIC champions, back-to-back sectional champions. And you know what? They played there. Listen, that game could have went either way. So what a run they had, just what a run. And you know what? You know them. They're not going to be done. They're not going to be done.
No doubt. That staff is A1. I mean, professional staff, great group there. They got a great program going. And like you said, hats off to them because what a great run. And I'm not saying it's over by any means, but it's cool to see. It was cool to watch, especially the last 2 years. Coach is doing a great job with those guys.
Yep. So real quick, you said about how good Glassboro is, right, Jen? All year, they gave up 62 points, right? So you must be, they're a defensive team. Well, I'm just going to rattle off some. This is what they've scored this year. 35, 36, 52, 63, 42, 54, 56, 42, 35, 47, 41, 35, 47, 44. They scored 79 touchdowns this year. Right? 79 touchdowns. Then they got a kid, Brandon Simmons. I thought this was a misprint. How many sacks you think he has?
50.
21 and a half.
Holy cow.
Right? Coach. So we just had Zach from Big State Sports. He said almost every kid both ways is getting looked at like big time colleges.
I believe it. They're loaded, like loaded.
Now listen, is Cedar Grove going to be afraid? No, they're not. And you know what? Cedar Grove, the one thing I think that helps Cedar Grove is, there's not a lot of teams. Listen, a lot of teams are more 75-25 run game, maybe even more, but not Cedar Grove. Like they throw it around, right? So, hey, if they get, when you go and say, if you throw it 40 times, it's not going to be pretty. That doesn't not like Cedar Grove's world. I mean, they're used to having to throw it around, and I think they're going to have to throw it around. So I'm never going to say they don't have a shot, but I'm with you guys. I just think Glassboro is, they're a step above.
Yeah.
All right, our last 2 games are our 2 non-public state championships. We'll start with non-public B, which is Paramus Catholic versus DePaul.
I'm going with DePaul here. Nikki Campanella. This is going to be another great game. This is obviously the 1 and the 2 seed expected to be here. But I'm going to stick with DePaul here. I think they're a really good football team. These guys, their records don't mean anything. This game is everything right here. The schedule these teams play is unbelievable. But I can see DePaul in a thriller. I'm not saying any kind of blowout by any means. It's going to be a 1-score game, but I think DePaul's going to come away with it at the end.
All right, Kenny is picking Paramus Catholic here by a score of 38-35. I'm with you, Coach. I'm going to go with the defending champs in DePaul. I think that it'll be a little closer game maybe than what they when they played against each other earlier in the season. I just think it's going to be that type of game. I don't know. I'm predicting maybe. Listen, what was it, 30-50 that they beat Red Bank Catholic last week? They put up 50, but
they scored 113 points in their 2 playoff games.
I feel like they, want like that high scoring game, but I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game.
I know the question is
with DePaul.
The question is about Derek Zama, right? Their quarterback, he got hurt. I'm not sure if he went back in at the end of that Holy Spirit game, but he was hurt, so it's in question. But Coach Terrell, this is like the only thing. he had a big, like they do a lot of quarterback run game, right? At DePaul, and he had a big game against Paramus Catholic last time. So like that is the big question. Like, is he going to be, how healthy is he going to be? And what kind of, dosage are they going to be able to run him? You know what I'm saying? So that's big. Like that could change everything if he can't go, or if he's, not a lot of the kind of player he is. But I'm still going to go DePaul with Coach Campanelli. I mean, listen, they're physical. I think they'll be more physical. I think Paramus Catholic wants to make it more of like a track meet. I think DePaul's going to kind of like, hey, we're going to play this physical. And I think the physicality is going to win out. I'll take DePaul.
All right. And our last one is the non-public A state championship, St. Joe's of Montvale versus Don Bosco.
So two, tremendous head coaches. You got Coach Augie Hoffman at St. Joe's, Coach Danny Sabella at Don Bosco. I can't believe, that game, the Bergen Catholic Bosco game, sold out. Like, I've never even heard of that in Jersey. Like, I couldn't get tickets. I was going to go to that game, and I was like, I can't go. It's insane. I could not believe it. But I mean, how cool is that? Just in general with Jersey football. But I'm definitely going with Don Bosco here. I think it's Sabella's year. He's got his team going. These kids got the confidence, and it's not going to be another one. This is not going to be an easy game, and I know that they know that. Because knowing Coach Sabella, if he goes 11-1, this is a failure of a season. With all those huge wins, it ain't going to matter. Obviously, it's the state championship. No one wants to lose the state championship, but I'm telling you, this will be as bad as being 0-11 or 0-12 because this is everything. And Sabella's preparing his team for that. And that's not taking anything away from St. Joe's in any way. But I just think this is their year. And Bosco's going to win this one. 12-0, state champs, big time.
If they pull that off, Coach, I mean, it is, without question. I mean, they beat everybody that they had to.
Oh, yeah.
And twice.
Yeah.
Teams twice.
Yeah,
They beat Bergen Catholic twice.
And they would beat St. Joe's twice, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. So just think about it. Has that ever happened before?
I feel like there's always like room to contest, right? Like, so this would be a true.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. Yeah. To imagine you say, hey, I beat Bergen and Joe's twice this year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. So yeah, I'm sticking with Bosco. That's I didn't know that. I forgot that they played Joe's already.
Yep.
But yeah.
So Kenny agrees with you, is picking Bosco by a score of 34-27. When we picked our brackets in the beginning, I said it was going to be a Bergen Catholic redemption tour. I said they were going to get, but that turned out to be wrong. But you know what? I think I had the wrong redemption team. St. Joe's just beat St. Peter's, who was one of their losses. Now they have Bosco. Early in their season, it was back-to-back losses to St. Peter's and Bosco. I'm going to go St. Joe's on this one. I might be the outlier here, but I'm picking St. Joe's.
St. Joe's, like we're saying, Bosco's 11-0, but Jen, you're right. Like St. Joe's is 4 points away, right? They lost by 1 point, 1 point to St. Peter's in the first game when their starting quarterback wasn't hurt. I mean, wasn't there. He was injured. And then they lost a 3-point game to Don Bosco, right? So you're 4 points away from you could be the 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
And we saw this movie before, right? They played, and listen to these stats of this game, Coach, okay? Because everyone that's just like, all right, like St. Joe's won, and I mean Bosco won or whatever, but in that game, St. Joe's had over 350 yards of offense. You know what Bosco had? 120 yards of total offense, right? So when Coach Augie's looking at it, like, you were right there with this team. I mean, really, you probably outplayed them. If you think about it. Now, that's a testament to Bosco's defense, because with 120 yards of offense, you still win that game. So give them credit. But I think like this is going to be a thing. Like, we know Bosco is, hey, run the ball, play defense. That's what they've done all year. But I think what they got to do a little early on with Carson Chain is, hey, you know what? We're going a couple 9 routes. We're going over the top just to show St. Joe's, hey, you know what? And they got guys too. Like they got good receivers at Bosco. And even though he's a sophomore, you want to run the ball. But in this game, it's going to be, hey, you want to put 9 and 10 in the box. Listen, we can strike over the top too. And even if you don't complete them, it's just like, whoa, like let's back off a little, and now I can run the ball. But as Jen, I swear to God, I was going to pick St. Joe's too. But I would be a fraud if I go against Bosco. Why? Because what's my motto? Seriously, all year long. Run the ball, play defense. Who's done it better than Don Bosco? Seriously, who's done it better? Their defense is sick. Their defense is sick. What they did to Bergen last week, like Bergen, like they couldn't drop back. Their defense was relentless. I'm going Bosco.
All right. And there we have the state
Oh,
tournament
can I ask
slate.
Coach? I want to ask Coach. We got a question for you.
What do you got?
He might be asking about, like, I guess, like a state championship game, and you never lost a state championship game, which that's good for you. You never lost one, but we'll put it like in a big game, right? So he's saying, if I could ask one question to the coach, Coach, talk about being a coach after losing. I'm going to use the word a big game, and your message and your role to the kids.
So I mean, we never lost a state championship game, but we lost to Rutherford in the state sectional before we played down to a state championship. And it was on a year that by no means did we expect to get there. You know, we came into the season the year before we were 5-4-1. And these guys just kind of put it together late, and we went on a run. And it started when it started in the playoffs. We won a playoff game. Then we went to Verona, and I remember going into Verona, and they were a powerhouse. I might have touched on this last time, but I don't want to say I didn't think we were going to win the game, but I was hopeful that we would be in the game. It ended up being a shootout. We ended up winning that game, and then we went to Rutherford, who we knew was very good and going to be very tough to beat. We ended up being up 14-13 at half. Fired up. Lyndhurst is like, oh my God, you know, first time we're back in the state championship or sectional championship since 1983. We ended up losing 35-14. And what I said to those guys was, you know, listen, we're not, no one's happy here. We lost the game, right? But I was so proud of the opportunity that these kids gave our town, like our unity. I think I talked about this. I don't know if it was here. I talk about it often, but I have a picture in my office, and it's a picture of the crowd, the Lyndhurst crowd. So it was taken from the Rutherford sideline from my photographer. He was smart enough to go. It's just a great idea by him to go over there. And the coolest thing for me is just hearing the old timers and the alumni tell me how proud they were to wear their old varsity jacket and be there. And the message I sent to the kids was, guys, you did that. You brought people together that didn't think they would see each other for years. I got chills. I'm saying it right now. It was so cool to me. You know, old time guys just saying, you know, hey, Richie, you know, tough loss, but thank you. What a great run. People coming out for the game, like, awesome. And then it trickled into the following year. We knew we were coming back with a vengeance, and the kids bought into it, and we ended up winning it the following year. But the main message is, you know, we're not going to – it's life. We're not going to win every battle. We're not going to win every battle. But as long as we keep fighting the fight and getting up and doing what we got to do, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth, because, you know, football is very much like the game of life.
Yep.
And as long as we don't put our heads down and reflect and be proud of what we did, it's something that, you know, you're going to remember forever and you learn from and build on. Again, another quote that I always say, you never lose if you always learn. And we definitely learned a lot from that. You know, you don't want to lose any game, and getting all the way to the final and losing, it stinks. But after some time and healing, you reflect and I'm proud of that season, just like I'm proud of winning the state championship. That's the truth about it, because there were so many great memories and so many moments within that I can still remember of comeback wins and just different things with those kids that we'll cherish forever. It's funny. A bunch of those kids from that team reached out to me. They're like, Coach, we're going out tomorrow night. If you could stop by, bring Castagnetti. I'm like, listen, of course I'll stop by for you guys. Like, that's the stuff that means the world to me. There's nothing better than, like, you know, just having those relationships with those kids. And we've been, you know, tough. Look, even the teams that weren't so good. We're always gonna win games. We're always gonna lose games. But as long as we learn from them, that's really all that matters. It's, you know, it's really, I want to win every game I play, but it's not all about winning. It's about learning and getting better as a human being in life. That's everything to me.
But I bet you that game too, that loss changed expectations for you guys.
No doubt.
You know that now it's, you know what, you're here. We got to get to there.
It changed the program, and no doubt we said we tasted it, and we're coming back next year,
Yep.
and we're getting it. And the kids put in the work all off season, and we ended up going and getting it done, and it was awesome. It was truly awesome.
All right, great question as always. From
Yeah,
Keith
thank you,
Brugman. He
Keith.
gets some good
Yeah.
ones in there.
Hell yeah.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Always
Appreciate
a
you
pleasure.
guys. Yes, I love it. Let me know when I'm back. I'm back, baby.
Always
will,
back.
we will.
Next-
Yep,
You'll
absolutely.
be back, of course.
Yeah.
And
Let me
again,
know.
have a happy Thanksgiving, you and the family.
Yeah, seriously, you guys too. Enjoy. I'll give you a shout. Just shoot me a text when you can talk. I'll tell you that quick story.
Sounds good. Just give us another 5 minutes for off.
No, you let me know. You let me know. Thank you. Appreciate
Will
you.
do. Thank you, Coach.
Good night.
Take
Coach.
care.
All right, there he is, the one and only Coach Twirl, Lyndhurst High School. And listen, that's a great question that Keith asked. And you always they always say like, and you know what? It's always funny because like, listen, he'll never forget when he won the sectional championship. But you know what? Those losses, it's like they always stay with you.
Oh,
They
yeah,
always
yeah,
stay with
yeah.
you. But again, like he said, that was a turning point. And listen, they got that taste, changed the expectation. Next year, they got it done.
Well, that I have to say, as a former coach, that's probably one of we talk about this, like things that we don't miss from coaching, right? But
Yep.
we say, like, what do you miss from coaching? And obviously, the relationships with
Oh,
your
100%.
players and your coaching staff, of course, which, Coach Trower was saying how much he trusts his guys there. And that's because of the relationship that they have. And you know what I really do miss? I say this to you often is like pregame, like pregame speech, like what you're going
Yep.
to say to your kids pregame. And as hard as it is to talk to your team after a tough loss, like being able to hopefully impart on them, give them some
Yeah.
type of solace in that or comfort and know that there's a bigger picture because it hurts right then and there, like, because you've been through it yourself as a player, right? And so you do miss that. I didn't like to see my players feel that way after all their hard work, but it's another part of the growth process.
It was always funny too, because again, like whether it was Coach Gibbs or Coach Sheridan, like, listen, we always wanted to win, obviously. And listen, first and foremost, that's what you want to do, right? But there always was a part of them that was like, you know what, like, good, we didn't play good this week. Good,
Yeah.
because you know what, now we'll get on. Now you know what, it's gonna make
Yeah.
us better. I can get on. Like when you win 52, how are you getting on somebody? They think they're the best in the world, whatever. But when you don't, and you do have, you put that film on, and it's pretty.
Well, you know what?
You know what? That's motive. That's teaching points. That's going to be listen, you just don't walk out. You better work because you know what? The other team's going to work. We always said they coach over there too.
Right. And,
and
those kids play.
They play,
Yeah.
exactly.
I used to say that in basketball, like
It's true.
the other girl wants the ball.
Yeah.
She's going to try to take
And you know
it
what?
from
When
you.
you know what? And when you're a good team like that, like you're the bullseye for. You know, when those people would come in, like you're coming in, obviously we were in public, even like St. Mary's, like they're coming in and you're getting their best. The coaches are screaming in the locker room. This is we want. Because you got the reputation of being that good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're going to give you more. And you know what? You better be on your game. But no, that was great with Coach Twirl.
Well, thank you to Coach Twirl again for joining us. We love having him on and tapping into all of his knowledge as well. Thank you to Zach Smolin from Big State Sports for joining us and giving his expertise on the breakdown of the state tournament games. And thank you, of course, to Coach Gogarty. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name, of Cedar Grove, and Sebastian, his kicker, for joining us. And good luck to them. And good luck to all of the teams alive, the Thanksgiving Day teams. Kurt mentioned it. We're going to do an NJIC postseason show as well. So please be looking for that. And thank you so much for watching and happy Thanksgiving to all.
And happy Thanksgiving to our great producer backstage,
yes,
Sean.
thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean, for everything that you do. So you and your family, please have a happy Thanksgiving. And Jen, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thanks.
Your bowl of joy this year is a 6.5 pound Shih Tzu to watch.
I am thankful for Bo.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night. And we will